My brother Su Chen and I awakened two systems simultaneously. One could enlarge objects 100-fold, while the other could shrink them 100-fold. He snatched the miniaturization system without hesitation, leaving me with only the enlargement system. 3 days later, the apocalyptic downpour arrived as foretold. Relying on the enlargement system, I stretched our limited supplies. We barely scraped by together for 5 difficult years. However, as the rain finally, Su Chen pushed me from the high-rise. His eyes were filled with pure hatred. If it weren't for you, I could have used the enlargement system to save Lin Wei's family. Su Wan, you selfish woman, just die. In my final moment of consciousness, I was reborn 3 days before the apocalypse. Please choose your respective systems. A cold, mechanical voice echoed in my mind. The familiar scene left me dazed. Beside me, Su Chen was stunned for a moment. Then he shouted with wild joy, I want the enlargement system. Seeing his smug face, I snapped back to reality. So he was reborn too. I sneered inwardly. Since you care so deeply for your precious Lin Wei's family, but harbor such hatred for your own sister, then in this life, I won't give a damn whether you live or die. The miniaturization system can shrink not only myself, but also concentrate food. Having realized this, I looked at the ecstatic Su Chen, and spoke calmly. Then I'll choose the miniaturization system. Good. The systems are now bound to you. Eager to try out his new system, Su Chen immediately enlarged a cup on the table 100-fold. Watching that cup transform, from small to gigantic, he yelled excitedly, it's real. It really is the enlargement system. I watched coldly. This was the brother I had protected with my life in my past life. That relentless downpour lasted 5 years, trapping everyone in their homes. Supplies became desperately scarce. It was only by using the enlargement system, on our last few boxes of instant noodles and bread, that we managed to get by. Su Chen's childhood sweetheart, Lin Wei, lived right across the hall. He had begged me endlessly to help her family, but I knew the dangers of human nature, and I flatly refused. Without my aid, Lin Wei's family didn't survive the 5 years. They starved to death early on. The cruel irony was, I endured the merciless apocalypse, only to be killed in the end, by the brother I had protected for years, Su Wan. The enlargement system is mine now. Aren't you jealous? Su Chen probed, a hint of wariness in his eyes. My system can make anything bigger. Your shrinking system seems pretty useless. I let out a breath, and pretended nonchalance, smiling. It's just a system. What's the difference? If you like it, keep it. I don't care. Seeing my complete lack of interest, Su Chen finally relaxed. His smug smile made me realize, in this life, he would definitely go save his beloved. And once the system's secret is exposed, Su Chen will find no peace in the apocalypse. Su Chen will find no peace in the apocalypse. Sure enough, he excitedly rushed out of the house, and knocked on Lin Wei's door. The door opened, and Lin Wei looked at him, puzzled. Su Chen, what are you doing here? But Su Chen paid no mind to the distance on her face. He moved in close, all friendly. Sister Lin Wei, let's talk inside. Watching the door close, I immediately checked my phone. September 14th. 3 days until the heavy rain. There's still time. I immediately drove to the supermarket and went on a crazy spree for food, drinking water, and daily necessities. I even bought a batch of baby chicks. Then I went to a furniture store and picked out a whole new set of furniture for my future home. My apartment is on a high floor. The rain in my past life didn't even reach it, so I'm not planning to leave. I just need to live a different way. I need to live a different way. For the time that followed, I started a crazy shopping spree. Until I spent the last penny in my bank account. As for Su Chen, knowing the rain was coming, he made no preparations at all. Relying on his amplification system, he wasn't worried in the slightest. He was even a little excited to become a savior when food runs short, and save Lin Wei's family, winning the beauty's heart. I always thought he just had a crush on Lin Wei. I never expected he was a complete and total love-struck fool. When Su Chen came home that night, he was floating in a pink bubble, as if he'd already fallen in love with Lin Wei. Su Wan, tell me, if I save Lin Wei's family, do you think she'll fall for me? He wore a lovesick grin. I coldly shattered his fantasy. No, impossible. Su Chen reacted strongly. Sister Lin Wei will definitely like me. Tell the truth. Do you like her too? Let me tell you, don't even think about it. She's mine. I couldn't be bothered with his nonsense. I looked down and continued shopping online. The betrayal in my past life opened my eyes to everything. This time, I won't repeat the same mistake. While I was focused on shopping, Su Chen came over with a cheeky grin. Su Wan, got any money left? Lend me a few thousand. I need to buy some food. I answered with a cold face. No. I just bought a new fridge. Spent it all. Hearing this, Su Chen immediately raised his voice. Why did you buy a fridge? I frowned. Just replacing a fridge. Why are you overreacting? Su Chen realized he'd overreacted, and quickly covered it up. Nothing, I was just curious. Hey, Su Wan, don't you have some snacks in your room? I'll take them to the lonely elderly in the neighborhood. They have it tough. You're not mad, are you? He smiled with a kind face, as if waiting for my praise. I could hardly believe it. This brother who had lived a second life, not only stole the enlargement system I desperately wanted, but also casually gave away my last remaining supplies. He clearly wants to leave me with no way out. If I hadn't also been reborn facing the impending apocalyptic rainstorm. I would have no chance of survival. Looking at his hypocritical smile, my disgust for him deepened even more. Our parents died early. As the older sister, I dropped out of school early to work, taking on the heavy responsibility of supporting the family, to put him through school. His grades were poor. I never blamed him. His standard of living was always better than his peers. Later, he didn't get into college, so I brought him to live with me in the city apartment I worked for years to buy. Little did I know, his neighbor across the hall was actually his childhood sweetheart, Lin Wei. Lin Wei's family got rich from a demolition payout. They were well off. Su Chen fell for the sweet-looking Lin Wei at first sight and launched a relentless pursuit. Even when the rainstorm came in my past life, I was unwilling to help. He dared to wait until I was asleep and secretly gave a third of our household supplies to Lin Wei's family. I was helpless. I could only lock my door to prevent him from stealing again. So in his heart, this sister of his couldn't compare to a woman who had done nothing for him. I was utterly disappointed in Su Chen. It's fine. I coldly uttered 3 words, but he seemed not to notice my coldness. Smiling, he said, Su Wan, you're the best. I knew it. You wouldn't be angry over such a small thing. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. I didn't want to say another word to him. I turned and went back to my room, and began planning my refuge. All the necessary things were ready. Now I just needed to wait for the rainstorm to arrive. As for Su Chen, thinking he had the enlargement system, he could rest easy. He only used his own pocket money to buy a few $100s worth of food, and secretly locked it in his room. Afraid I might steal it, I simply gave up on this apartment, staying here any longer. No matter how small I became, there was a risk of being discovered. I had my eye on another place, the secret room in my bedroom. This was a small room I specifically partitioned off during renovation. I never told Su Chen about it. It was only the size of a bathroom. But for me, after shrinking, it was a perfect safe house. The door to the secret room could only be opened via a phone app. I wasn't worried at all about it being discovered. Additionally, I specifically went to the wilderness on the city's outskirts, and using the shrinking system, brought back a patch of land and several trees. This way, I could create a mini farmland in the secret room and achieve self-sufficiency. In the blink of an eye, the supplies and furniture I ordered all arrived. Now, there was only 1 day left before the storm. I had set the delivery address to my long-abandoned rural hometown. While no one was around, I took all the things, furniture, appliances, food, and various odds and ends, even the small house itself, shrunk them down, and packed them into prepared boxes. Late at night, when all was quiet, I drove back to my home in the city, and moved all my belongings into the secret room. Su Chen had been unusually excited these past few days, completely focused on his perfect preparations. He didn't notice my movements at all. I installed the filtration system in the secret room, so I wouldn't run out of oxygen even after years. I also poured 5 unshrunk bottles of water into a large water vat to serve as a future water source. After a night of careful arrangement, the secret room had become a miniature farm. Chicks pecked at bugs in the grass. The small house was fully furnished with appliances. Finally, I could wait at ease for the apocalypse to arrive. Half a day before the storm hit, Su Chen went to Lin Wei's house again. Lin Wei's family didn't seem to like him much. I'd heard Lin Wei's mother, Zhao Shilian, complain to the neighbor more than once. That kid across the hall has no shame. He's a grown man, always running over to our house. The neighbor joked. I think he's got his eye on your daughter. You might get a son-in-law soon. Zhao Shilian immediately retorted. Pa, he didn't even get into college, and he's in his 20s. No real job, living off his sister. And that deadbeat thinks he can marry my daughter. Not a chance. My daughter is beautiful and has a stable job. He's not good enough for her. But Su Chen seemed completely unfazed by these opinions. He just barged into Lin Wei's room, and didn't come out. 1 hour before the downpour, I called Su Chen. Hey, sis. What's up? Something came up at work. I'm working late tonight, won't be back. My voice betrayed no emotion. There was silence on the other end. Finally, he just gave a perfunctory reply. Okay, I'll eat by myself tonight then. Bye. Ha, I knew it. He would never warn me the apocalypse was coming. This phone call was just to make him think I'd left home, to throw him off. Then, I opened the app on my phone, opened the secret room, slipped inside, and locked the door. Once inside, I activated the shrink system, and shrunk myself down. After a dizzying sensation, the once cramped secret room became incredibly spacious. I dared to do this because in my past life, I discovered things enlarged by the magnification system all returned to normal after the rain stopped. I guess the shrink system worked the same way. The system would deactivate once the storm ended. Looking at the vibrant mini homestead before me, I felt incredibly secure. I had already taken advantage of Su Chen's absence to install hidden cameras at home and in the hallway, even outside Lin Wei's door. Now, I could monitor everything inside. After finishing on my phone anytime, I started tilling the soil, sowing seeds, and feeding the chickens. The monitors showed the rain had already started outside, but people still hadn't realized how serious this rain was. Social media was full of posts complaining about being stuck indoors, but I was cut off from the world. My only comfort was my phone and the internet. Days passed, and the rain showed no sign of stopping. It was as if the sky had been torn open by a giant gash, with endless rain pouring down. The city's drainage system had long since collapsed. The streets had turned into muddy rivers. Su Chen didn't seem surprised by my disappearance. Perhaps in his heart, this burdensome older sister of his should have vanished in this disaster long ago. And me, Su Wan, am now in a secluded paradise, cut off from the world. This miniature world created by the shrinking system is right inside my original bedroom. Here, I'm living the idyllic life I've always dreamed of. Woken by the rooster's crow each day, watering the soft soil, watching the lush green seedlings thrive. My heart is filled with joy. In my spare time, I even mix myself a glass of juice, lie on the sofa, and through the tiny cameras placed all over the house, watch Su Chen and Lin Wei's family perform, like it's some boring family drama. That day, I turned on the surveillance feed again. Sure enough, Su Chen had brought Lin Wei back to our home. In the living room, he wore an ingratiating smile, his body unconsciously leaning towards Lin Wei. He looked just like a puppy begging for attention. Lin Wei, your family, do you have enough food? He asked cautiously. Lin Wei perfectly feigned a hint of worry. She sighed. Sigh, not much left. I should have stocked up more, she said, her big, watery eyes looking at Su Chen, pleadingly. Su Chen, do you have any food left at home? Could you share a little with me? I have my parents and little sister at home. That little bit of food won't last us long at all. Hearing his crush's request, Su Chen immediately puffed out his chest. He mysteriously leaned close to her ear and whispered something. Lin Wei's expression instantly froze. Then she abruptly stood up, her voice sharp as she cried out, "How is that possible? How could such a thing exist in this world? Of course. Don't believe me? Watch." Su Chen's vanity was immensely satisfied. He smugly picked up an apple and activated the enlargement system. A faint light flashed. The fist-sized apple instantly swelled into a behemoth. Lin Wei's expression shifted from disbelief to ecstasy. She grabbed Su Chen's hand, her voice trembling with excitement. "Su Chen, that's amazing. Thank goodness for you. Then, hurry up and enlarge the rest of the food at your place too." With his crush tightly holding his hands, Su Chen's face instantly flushed bright red. He stammered, "Oh okay, Lin Wei, but I have a small request." "Tell me, I'll agree to any request." Lin Wei answered without hesitation. Her eyes gleamed with greed and calculation. I like you. You know that, since I can save your family. Then, could you like me too?" The younger brother finally mustered up his courage and spoke his mind. He shyly lowered his head, completely unaware that the moment he said those words, a flash of unconcealable disgust and contempt crossed Lin Wei's face. But that disgust was quickly and perfectly masked. She put on an affectionate, slightly shy expression, and gently punched his chest, saying, "What are you talking about? Haven't we been together all along? Have you forgotten? We were childhood sweethearts. Of course I like you too. Once this storm ends, we'll get married." To the younger brother, these words were like music to his ears. He trembled with excitement, and pulled Lin Wei into a tight embrace. He stammered excitedly, "That's great. Lin Wei, I knew you liked me too. My sister said you wouldn't like me. I think she's just jealous. She just can't stand to see me happy." "What about your sister?" Lin Wei asked, as if casually, but her eyes gleamed with curiosity. The younger brother shrugged carelessly. Said she was working overtime at the company, but it's been raining so hard for so long now, and it's so chaotic out there. She's probably dead in some corner by now. He said it as casually as if talking about an insignificant ant. Hearing this good news, a faint, sly smile flickered across Lin Wei's face. She patted his back reassuringly, and coaxed him in an even sweeter voice to bring out all the supplies stockpiled in the room, so she could take them home. Just then, a frantic knocking suddenly came from the door, along with the anxious shouts of a middle-aged man. "Su Chen, is Su Chen home? Open the door. I need your help urgently." Both the younger brother and Lin Wei were startled by the sudden noise. The younger brother frowned, asking unhappily, "Who is it, knocking so late at night?" Lin Wei's expression also darkened. She glanced warily at the door, and said to the younger brother, "Don't open it. It's so chaotic out there. Who knows who it is?" The man outside seemed to hear the commotion inside. The knocking grew more urgent. "Su Chen, it's me, Uncle Wang." Old Wang from across the hall. "Please open the door. I'm begging you. Your aunt, she's dying." Uncle Wang's voice was choked with tears. It didn't sound fake. The younger brother hesitated. He looked at Lin Wei, his eyes asking for guidance, but Lin Wei remained unmoved. She curled her lip coldly, and whispered to him, "Ignore him. What time do you think this is? Everyone's losing someone. We just need to look after ourselves. Don't get involved." Although Dee felt a pang of guilt, seeing Lin Wei's resolute expression, he chose to obey. He didn't open the door. He let Uncle Wang outside plead desperately, then curse until he was hoarse. In the end, everything fell silent. Only the relentless downpour continued, as if providing a soundtrack to this heartless night. I watched it all through the surveillance feed. Uncle Wang's family were our old neighbors. They were always very kind to people. Little snacks. Auntie Wang often brought us homemade snacks. I never expected that in a life-or-death situation, Dee could become so cold-hearted. No, perhaps he didn't change. It was the selfishness and callousness in his nature, fully unleashed under Lin Wei's encouragement. I turned off the feed, my heart completely calm. This night was destined to be anything but peaceful. Lu Qing's family got food that could multiply infinitely. Their greed and desires would also be amplified infinitely, and the neighbors struggling with hunger and despair. What desperate acts would they commit? A storm of human nature was brewing, and I just needed to wait quietly, watching them descend step by step into the abyss of self-destruction. Thinking of that fool on the feed, blinded by love. My feelings were all mixed up. How did I raise such a creature? Stupid, selfish, with a kind of naive evil, as if he couldn't wait for his own sister to die. But then again, what does it have to do with me? I'm safely hidden in this mini space no one can find. I just need to live my own little life. The debts from the past life, let him repay them himself in this one. I turned and went back to my mini kitchen. I took out fatty beef rolls, shrimp paste, and various mushrooms from the fridge, and leisurely prepared a lavish single-serving hot pot. The red oil bubbled and steamed in the pot, the air filled with the spicy, savory aroma, bringing me unprecedented satisfaction and comfort. I took out my phone. I took a picture of this sumptuous dinner, added a relaxed emoji, and posted it to my social feed. Sure enough, not long after I posted it, Su Chen's comment came, sis. Su Chen's comment came, sis. A comment wasn't enough. His WeChat messages bombarded me one after another. Sis, are you okay? Are you okay? Sis, where are you? How are you having hot pot? I want some too. Sis, tell me where you are. The rain's so heavy, I can't go out. Can you bring me some food? I didn't reply to a single one of his frantic messages. I just leisurely took a sip of my iced drink, took another picture, and sent it to him alone, with a caption, the drink is great, and the hot pot is steaming. So cozy. Su Chen's call came through immediately. His impatient voice came through the receiver. Sis, how are you eating hot pot? Where exactly are you? Hurry up and bring some back for me. I've been eating dry bread for days. Even though he was saying he wanted hot pot, I could hear another layer of meaning in his urgent, slightly jealous tone. A subtext. How come, even with the apocalypse here, you're still living so well? I chuckled softly. I looked up at my peaceful little haven, and answered him in a flat, distant tone, I'm still at the office. The rainstorm is too heavy. I'm stuck here. This hot pot is a company perk. Nothing I can do. Can't go back. Find something to eat at home yourself. Don't starve. No way. Sis. Su Chen immediately started whining. This was his tried and true tactic against me since we were kids. The bread at home is awful. It's dry and hard. I'm sick of it. I want hot pot too. Just bring a little back for me. No, I flat out refused. Sis. Su Chen tried to say more, but I hung up the phone impatiently. Then, with great interest, I switched to the surveillance feed. Sure enough, I saw him throwing a tantrum at his phone, violently throwing a cushion to the floor. The pitiful, well-behaved act from before was completely gone from his face. Playing the good boy for so many years must have been tough for him. After I'd eaten and drunk my fill, I lay down comfortably on the bed, lazing around like a lump, enjoying this hard-won peace. From time to time, I'd open the phone surveillance, watching Su Chen's movements like it was a show. I switched to the surveillance outside Lin Wei's door, and immediately heard her family's excited conversation. Wei, you're really our family's lucky star. This Su Chen is amazing. This way, our family won't have to worry about food or drink. We really hit the jackpot. This was the shrill voice of Lin Wei's mother, Zhao Shilian. Her tone was full of unconcealable pride and excitement. It seems, the whole family already knew the secret of Su Chen's amplification system. Lin Wei's father, Lin Zhengde, a middle-aged man who looked simple and honest, was rubbing his hands together now. A big smile plastered on his face. Yes, now we can finally rest easy. That boy Su Chen is really our benefactor. Lin Wei's younger sister, Lin Meng, a girl still in high school, threw herself at Lin Wei's side, hugging her arm and whining, Sis, does that mean we can have feasts every day from now on? I want amplified potato chips, and amplified chocolate. Surrounded by her family's flattery and praise, Lin Wei's vanity was immensely satisfied. She lifted her chin proudly. Of course, but even though Su Chen's system is powerful, we still can't be too careless. This matter absolutely cannot be known by a fourth person. Understand? Understood. Lin Zhengde and Zhao Shilian nodded repeatedly. Their expressions turned serious, as if guarding a huge secret. Just as the family was immersed in fantasies of a better future, Su Chen arrived at Lin Wei's door, carrying a large bag of food enlarged several times over. The moment the door opened, Lin Zhengde and Zhao Shilian immediately put on faces of extreme enthusiasm and fawning. They ushered Su Chen inside with a manner even more affectionate than towards their own parents. Oh, Xiao Chen is here. Come in. Zhao Shilian took the huge bag from Su Chen's hands, while warmly greeting him. It's raining so hard outside. Dry off, don't catch a cold. Thank you, Auntie. Su Chen was somewhat flustered by this sudden warmth, but he felt an unprecedented sense of satisfaction inside. He felt he had finally gained the approval of Lin Wei's family. He was no longer that useless poor kid, but a hero who could save their entire family. Lin Zhengde also came over, patting Su Chen's shoulder. He couldn't stop praising him. Xiao Chen, you're full of surprises. With such amazing skills, we can rest assured about Wei Wei being with you in the future. Su Chen was praised into a state of euphoria. He glanced at Lin Wei, who was gazing at him affectionately, puffed out his chest, and declared confidently, Don't worry, uncle and auntie. As long as I'm here, you'll never go hungry. Just tell me whatever you want to eat from now on. Great. Great. Lin Zhengde and Xiao Shilian grinned from ear to ear. The way they looked at Su Chen was like looking at a cash cow. However, this harmonious and beautiful scene didn't last long. As the initial novelty and excitement faded, the deep-seated greed and selfishness in human nature began to surface. The Lin Wei family's attitude towards Su Chen also shifted from initial gratitude and warmth to entitled demands and escalating exploitation. They were no longer satisfied with just enlarging existing food. They began demanding Su Chen create more and better things for them. Lin Meng wanted pretty clothes and cosmetics. Zhao Shilian wanted gold and silver jewelry. Lin Zhengde had his eye on cigarettes and alcohol. They treated Su Chen like an all-powerful wishing machine, constantly making unreasonable demands. As for Su Chen, to maintain his hero image in Lin Wei's heart, to hold on to this hard-won love, he could only use the enlargement system again and again, satisfying their ever-growing desires. He was like a puppet being controlled, directed by Lin Wei's family, constantly draining himself and draining the system's energy. I watched all of this coldly through the surveillance. I saw Su Chen's face grow paler by the day, and his spirit wither more and more. Meanwhile, Lin Wei's family, in their frenzy of material desire, became increasingly repulsive. They even started going behind Su Chen's back, secretly selling the amplified food and supplies at high prices to neighbors struggling with hunger, profiteering from the disaster. A bigger storm was quietly brewing, and I just needed to keep waiting for the moment that would blow everything up. Su Chen's voice was full of pride. You flatter me, auntie. Being able to help your family with this system is my honor. After all, we're going to be family someday. After he said that, the air went quiet for a moment. Lin Zhengde and Xiao Shilian were clearly taken aback, but they quickly recovered, and immediately coaxed him with even more enthusiasm. Of course, if it weren't for you, who knows how our family would have survived this. For our Wei to be with you is her good fortune. I always said, this child has been likable since he was little, so promising. Su Chen was completely swept away by their flattery. He probably forgot his own name. Watching his smug look on the surveillance, I couldn't help but sneer. I turned off the feed. I know exactly what kind of people Lin Wei's family are. I know it all too well. In my past life, they got a windfall from a demolition payout, and immediately started throwing their weight around the village, looking down on everyone. All their relatives and old friends were insulted with the harshest words. They were terrified people were after their money. Many in the village said they had eyes on the top of their heads. Even the respected village chief was turned away when he stopped by their door asking for a drink of water. A selfish, profit-driven family like that could never truly care for my foolish brother. And Lin Wei, she's been arrogant since childhood, thinking she's better than everyone. She's bad-mouthed Su Chen countless times, openly and behind his back. She looks down on him from the bottom of her heart. The only reason she treats him differently now is because she wants his amplification system. Of course, I would never remind him of any of this. After all, right now I'm just someone who's been shrunk 100 times. Even if I wanted to intervene, I couldn't. Besides, I don't want to intervene at all. Not long after, Su Chen called again. This time, his voice on the other end was full of bragging and pride. Sis, I have great news. Lin Wei and I are officially together. After hearing that, I just gave a flat oh, as if it were some trivial matter. I kept talking on the phone, while carrying a small bag of rice grains. I walked towards my mini chicken coop. The once fluffy little chicks at my feet had grown quite a bit by now, but they still followed me like a bunch of ducklings, chirping and chattering non-stop as they trailed behind me. Hey, what's that sound? Are those chickens? Su Chen's sharp ears picked up the unusual background noise. Because I'm feeding the chickens, I replied in that same unruffled tone. Hearing that, Su Chen was instantly dumbfounded. There was silence on the other end of the line for several seconds. Then a barrage of questions erupted. Feeding chickens? In this torrential downpour? Where did you even get chickens? Are you kidding me? I didn't answer his question directly. I just found it a bit amusing, and simply replied with 2 words. I raised them. I hung up the phone, couldn't be bothered with his shock. I walked to the edge of the vegetable patch. The seeds I'd sown earlier had now sprouted into tender shoots about an inch high, lush and green. They looked especially delightful under the glow of the artificial sun. From time to time, I'd come out to pull weeds and water them. All the meat I'd bought earlier from the system mall was neatly sorted and stored in the large freezer, enough to last me for years. Just as I was enjoying this pastoral bliss, Su Chen's phone call came through again, persistent as ever. His voice was full of barely contained astonishment and confusion. Hey, where exactly are you? How come you can have hot pot and raise chickens there? Hasn't the storm affected your place at all? I answered him again in that flat, almost cold tone. Yeah, the weather's perfect here. Birds are singing, flowers are blooming. It's a whole other world compared to outside. After saying that, before he could ask more, I hung up the phone directly. I could imagine him on the other end, driven half-mad with envy and bewilderment. A sick sense of satisfaction even rose in my heart. This is the price for betraying family. He needs to savor it slowly. In the days that followed, the torrential rain showed no signs of letting up. The city had completely turned into an isolated island. Water and electricity supplies became extremely unstable. Power outages happened frequently, and the internet signal kept cutting in and out. food shortages were getting worse and worse. Relations between neighbors grew tense. Through the surveillance cameras, I saw neighbors in the complex starting to fight over food. The once harmonious atmosphere was gone. Everyone's face was etched with anxiety and unease. The panic of the apocalypse, like a plague, spread rapidly among the survivors. But Lin Wei's family, relying on Su Chen's enlargement system, were living a completely different life. Not only were they free from food worries, they even started a business. They sold the food Su Chen enlarged at exorbitant prices to those in the complex who were starving. A small bag of crackers originally worth a few dollars, once enlarged, they dared to ask for a gold bar. An ordinary bottle of water, after being enlarged, they'd trade for someone's family heirloom jade bracelet. They're exploiting people's desperate will to survive, engaging in the most primitive, most brutal form of capital accumulation. I watched all of this coldly through the surveillance cameras. Lin Zhengde, the man who once became arrogant over a little demolition money, was now sitting in front of a mountain of food, his face greasy. He held a calculator, constantly tallying up his profits. His face was lit up with a sickening excitement and satisfaction, as if he could already see the day he became the emperor of this complex. As for Zhao Shilian, she was like a harsh overseer, hands on her hips, picking apart and finding fault with every neighbor who came to trade for food. She humiliated and harassed them to the extreme. As for Lin Wei, she nestled close to Su Chen, using sweet talk to coax him, making him provide a steady stream of resources for her family. Lin Meng, following her parents' example, bossed around the ragged, malnourished neighbors. She would even deliberately eat giant chips and chocolate, right in front of those starving people, then say in a condescending tone, "Oh my, look, these chips are so good. Too bad you can't have any." Her smug, gloating face was sickening to look at, and Su Chen, he was like a fool with his eyes blinded, completely lost in the beautiful dream of love Lin Wei had spun for him. He thought he was Lin Wei's hero, the savior of her entire family. Seeing the Lin family's tearful gratitude toward him, and Lin Wei's gentle, caring smile, his vanity was immensely satisfied. He even started fantasizing that once the storm ended, he could marry Lin Wei, and live a happy, perfect life. He completely failed to notice that the way the Lin family looked at him had changed from a treasure trove to a mere tool. However, this kind of prosperity built on exploitation and oppression was doomed to be short-lived. The neighbors who had been bullied and exploited by the Lin family were quietly accumulating resentment and fury in their hearts. They endured hunger all day, while the aroma of food, this stark contrast, made their sense of injustice grow stronger and stronger. Finally, on a stormy, lightning-filled night, their long-suppressed anger erupted. Through the cameras, I saw several neighbors who usually seemed meek and honest become unusually aggressive, fueled by alcohol. Armed with clubs and kitchen knives, they rushed to the Lin family's door. They began pounding on it frantically. Shouts, curses, and cries mixed together, echoing throughout the complex. They demanded the Lin family hand over their food, or they'd break in and tear them apart. The Lin family was scared out of their wits by this sudden turn of events. They locked the door tight, and huddled inside, trembling. Su Chen was finally jolted awake from his beautiful dream. He looked at the neighbors with their twisted faces outside the door, and at the Lin family's terrified expressions. For the first time, he felt real fear. Lin Zhengde, that usually arrogant man, was now pale with fright. His voice trembling, he said to Su Chen, "Chen, hurry, use your system to drive them away, shrink them all, or make them all disappear." Only then did Su Chen realize that the enlargement system in his hands wasn't as all-powerful as he had imagined. He could only enlarge objects, not directly attack people. He looked at the pleading eyes of Lin Wei's family. He looked at the increasingly agitated neighbors outside. His heart was filled with helplessness and despair. He began to regret. He regretted ever telling Lin Wei's family the secret of the system. He regretted betraying his own sister for a fake love. Seeing that Lin Wei's family wouldn't open the door, the neighbors' anger reached its peak. They began using stones, bricks, and even simple tools to violently smash the windows and doors of Lin Wei's house. The sound of shattering glass, the sound of splintering wood, came one after another. Lin Wei's family huddled together, screaming non-stop. Su Chen watched it all, his mind in chaos. He didn't know what to do. He only knew that he was scared, really scared. I turned off the surveillance feed, a cold smile curling my lips. The real show was just beginning. The oppressed were finally rising up, and Lin Wei's family would finally pay the price for their greed and selfishness. As for Su Chen, everything he's suffering is just the consequences of his own actions. I won't intervene. I won't save him. He needs to face it, endure it, and grow on his own. Perhaps only by experiencing true despair can he see Lin Wei's family for who they really are. Only then can he understand who truly cares for him. And I just need to wait quietly. Wait for the final outcome of this storm. Wait for the dust to settle. Su Chen, that foolish, lovesick fool, was completely immersed in the fantasy of love Lin Wei had woven for him. He willingly became a mindless tool. His daily work was to constantly use the enlargement system to turn the meager food in Lin Wei's house into a massive amount of supplies, enough for the family to live lavishly, and even profit from the disaster. He seemed completely unaware that he was enabling their wickedness, nor did he notice that the way Lin Wei's family looked at him had changed from initial delight to blatant exploitation and control. They even began restricting Su Chen's movements, not letting him easily leave their sight. They called it protecting his safety, but really, They were afraid their precious asset would run away. Not only did Su Chen not complain, he actually thought it was Lin Wei caring for him. He was smug about it, watching his foolish act on the surveillance feed, being sold out and still helping count the money. I couldn't even be bothered to get angry. I just quietly recorded everything. These videos might come in handy someday. In my little paradise, time seemed to stand still. The chicks were growing day by day. They had already begun clumsily learning to crow. The vegetables in the garden were thriving too. The first batch of cherry tomatoes had already set fruit. They were bright red, like little lanterns. I even used points from the system mall to exchange for a small brewing kit. I started trying to make my own fruit wine. Compared to the chaos and filth outside, my little world was practically heaven. That day, I was pruning my cherry tomatoes when I suddenly heard a commotion of arguing from the surveillance system. I immediately switched to the feed from outside Lin Wei's door. The crowd was furious. Open up. Get out here, you Lins. What gives you the right to set prices so high? You're profiting off a national disaster. Exactly. Trading a bag of instant noodles for our family heirloom ring? You people have no shame. We're all neighbors. How can you be so ruthless? Hurry up and share some food with us. From behind the door, Lin Zhengde shouted in an extremely arrogant tone. What's all the racket? It's a free market. If you think it's too expensive, don't buy it. If you starve, that's your own problem. What's it got to do with us? If you've got the guts, go find your own food. His words completely enraged the crowd outside. Someone started slamming against the door. The door panel made loud banging noises. The Lin family was clearly starting to panic too. Zhao Shilian screamed for Su Chen to think of something fast. Su Chen was terrified by the situation, but he still forced himself to stay calm and walk to the door. He shouted to the people outside. What do you think you're doing? Keep this up and I'll call the police. His words were met with a burst of mocking laughter from the crowd. Call the police. Go ahead. Call them. The phones aren't even working now. The police don't even know where they are themselves. Who do you think you are? Listen, kid, I suggest you be smart about this. Open this door now and hand over the food. Otherwise, once we break this door down, your whole family won't like what happens. Just as the door was about to be broken down, Lin Zhengde had a quick flash of inspiration. He grabbed a few jugs of cooking oil from the kitchen. He had Su Chen use the enlargement system on them. Then he poured them directly out of a second-floor window. The scalding oil instantly drenched several people at the front of the crowd. It triggered a chorus of agonized screams. Things quieted down, for now, but everyone's eyes burned with hatred. Watching the surveillance feed, I felt nothing inside. All of this was exactly what I had expected. When human greed is amplified without limit, when the bottom line of survival is trampled on again and again, it's only a matter of time before conflict erupts. The seeds of evil sown by the Lin family were finally starting to bear bitter fruit. The consequences of the hot oil attack were worse than imagined. Several scalded neighbors let out inhuman wails of agony. Their skin was covered in large, festering wounds. They looked especially horrifying in the murky rainwater. The crowd's fury was ignited to its peak by fear and hatred. Living right across from them, old Zhang, a retired middle school teacher, trembling, pointed at the Lin family's window. He shouted hoarsely, Lin Zhengde, this is intentional harm. It's a crime. Aren't you afraid of karma? Behind the window, Lin Zhengde sneered. He responded with utter indifference. Karma. In this world, just surviving is karma enough. If you've got the guts, break in. Let's see who dies first. This attitude of completely tearing off the mask chilled everyone to the bone. Those who still held on to a sliver of hope for neighborly bonds were now completely sobered. They helped the injured and slowly backed away, but their venomous gazes were fixed on the tightly shut doors and windows of the Lin house, as if they could burn the place down with their eyes. I knew this was just the calm before the storm, and even crazier retaliation was brewing. After this conflict, the rift between Lin Wei's family and their neighbors deepened completely. They became public enemies of the entire complex. No one dared to approach their door easily anymore, but the seeds of hatred had been sown, and they grew wildly in everyone's heart. Lin Wei's family also became more cautious and paranoid. They barricaded their doors and windows with furniture, living every day in constant fear, jumping at shadows. The atmosphere at home became unbearably oppressive. Lin Meng, the spoiled, bratty princess, was the first to crack. She screamed and threw an empty chip bag at Su Chen. This is all your fault. If it weren't for you, our family wouldn't be in this mess. Now look. Everyone hates us. We can't even leave the house. You jinx. Su Chen was stunned by the outburst. He instinctively looked at Lin Wei, hoping she would say something in his defense. However, Lin Wei just frowned. She said to her sister, keep your voice down. Do you want to attract everyone outside? From start to finish, she didn't even glance at Su Chen. Her eyes were full of irritation and disgust. Su Chen's heart turned cold in that moment. Lin Zhengde, meanwhile, grew increasingly irritable and paranoid. He paced back and forth at home every day, checking every door and window, constantly cursing the riffraff outside under his breath. His attitude towards Su Chen also turned extremely harsh. He dropped all pretense, bossing Su Chen around at every turn, as if Su Chen wasn't his future son-in-law, but a dog he could discard anytime. Kid, go conjure up some more food for me. Our supplies are running low. He barked the order. Su Chen silently complied, but in his heart, doubt crept in for the first time. He began to question why he was staying here. What was it all for? For a love that had already soured, or for this family that now saw him as a tool and a burden? The final straw came soon enough. As time went on, the wealth the Lin family had amassed from reselling supplies couldn't withstand the family's reckless spending, and began to run out. Meanwhile, the neighbors outside, after their initial anger and fear, started to become more organized. They seemed convinced the Lin family was hiding something. They began keeping a 24-hour watch on the Lin house, and constantly harassed them in various ways, like throwing rocks at the windows, making all sorts of noise in the dead of night, trying to drive them crazy. One stormy night, another fierce argument erupted in the Lin household. "We can't keep him here any longer." Lin Zhengde slammed the table, glaring viciously at Su Chen. "He's a ticking time bomb. Those people outside must have guessed something. They're here for him. We'll only be safe if we kick him out." Zhao Shilian chimed in tearfully. "Yes, Qingqing, your father is right. Things are so chaotic outside now. Every extra person is another mouth to feed. We don't have much food left. We can't let our whole family starve. For the sake of an outsider, can we?" Su Chen looked at the family in disbelief. He turned to Lin Wei. His voice trembling, he asked, Yeah, is that what you think too?" Lin Wei was silent for a long time. She avoided Su Chen's gaze. Finally, in a voice that was almost icy, she said, "Su Chen, I'm sorry. My parents are right. We can't keep you here anymore. You should go. Maybe your sister will take you in." That, "maybe your sister will take you in," was like the sharpest knife, piercing through all of Su Chen's illusions and defenses in an instant. He finally understood. From the very beginning, he had been nothing but a joke. His so-called love, his so-called sacrifices, were worthless in the face of absolute selfishness and self-interest. A few nights later, I was jolted awake by the sound of an urgent alarm. I immediately checked my phone. It was a WeChat call from my brother. He seemed to be in some kind of emergency. He was calling me over and over again. I hesitated, then answered. His panicked, tearful voice came through the phone. Sis, help me. They're kicking me out. Slow down." "What happened?" I asked, feigning surprise. Though I already had a pretty good idea what was going on, I even adjusted my sitting position with some relish, ready to enjoy this year's top-rated emotional drama. Lin Wei and her whole family, they're throwing me out of the house." Su Chen's voice was full of despair and hurt, choking back sobs. He told me everything that had just happened, from Lin Meng's accusations, to Lin Zhengde's rage, to Lin Wei's final, cold betrayal. He cried like a child abandoned by the whole world. "How could they do this to you? You gave them so much." I echoed him with just the right mix of anger and sympathy, my tone full of concern for him and condemnation for the Lins. "Exactly. I gave them everything I could, but now they think I'm in the way. They think I'm a burden. So they're just throwing me away." Su Chen's emotions completely broke down. "Sis, I have nowhere to go now. It's dangerous everywhere outside. Can I come to you? Sis, please save me. You're the only one who can save me." Listening to his desperate pleas, the smile on my lips grew wider. I had waited far too long for this day. I cleared my throat, and spoke in a tone of great sorrow and reluctance. "Aiken, it's not that I don't want to help you, but, you know how small my place is. All my supplies are carefully rationed, just enough for me alone. If you suddenly show up, I really don't have any extra resources for you. Besides, my place is safe. What if you coming here catches the wrong person's attention? What if it exposes my location? Then we'd both be truly finished." Every word I said was like a bucket of ice water poured over his head. I could clearly hear, over the phone, the sound of his breath catching in his throat. But sis. He tried to say something more. I immediately cut him off. Using a tone full of wisdom and concern, I pointed him toward a better path. "Aiken, don't panic. Listen, the Lin family may be heartless, but you've helped them for so long. Go back now. Talk to them properly. Tell them you're willing to keep helping them, but ask them to provide you with basic shelter and food. They still need you right now. They'll agree. Stabilize things with them first. Once this blows over, you can figure something else out. Wandering around alone out there is the most dangerous thing you could do. Understand?" Of course I knew he couldn't go back. The Lin family, having already shown their true colors, would never let him back in. I said all that, just to snuff out the last flicker of hope in his heart, to let him experience firsthand what it truly means to be abandoned by all, what true despair feels like. There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Finally, all that came through was his voice, choked with tears, uttering a faint okay. Then, the call was disconnected. I put down my phone, looking at the surveillance feed, at my brother standing there in the rain, utterly lost, like an abandoned stray dog. My mood was incredibly light. The symphony of revenge was just beginning its most magnificent movement. I blocked all his contact methods, tossed my phone aside. My heart was calm, without a single ripple. For this hopeless brother of mine, I had already done more than enough. He chose this path of thorns with his own hands. Now he has to crawl down it on his knees. With all that commotion, I wasn't sleepy anymore. Nights in the apocalypse are always especially long. Might as well find some entertainment. I took out ingredients from my mini space, and cooked myself a steaming hot, incredibly fragrant bowl of luocefen. The pungent aroma of sour bamboo shoots mixed with the fiery chili oil. The tofu skin soaked up the broth. The golden peanuts were crispy and delicious. Elegantly, I picked up a strand of noodles with my chopsticks. Slurping it up, I switched the virtual screen in front of me to the surveillance feed of the Lin house. Can't miss this good show. On the surveillance feed, after Su Chen hung up, it was as if his soul had been sucked out. The phone slipped from his limp hand and hit the floor with a smack. The screen shattered, just like his heart at that moment. Standing dumbly in the middle of the Lin family's living room, everything seemed to move in slow motion. The way the Lin family looked at him held none of their previous fake warmth. Only naked disgust and annoyance remained, as if they were looking at a stray dog that had wandered into their mansion. Lin Zhengde was the first to snap. He walked up to Su Chen, his finger almost poking Su Chen's nose. He growled impatiently. What are you standing there for? Didn't you hear my daughter tell you to get out? We don't keep freeloaders in this house, much less useless trash. Get out. Now. Su Chen staggered back. His back hit the cold wall. Only then did he manage to steady himself. He looked around. This new family he had given his all to join, even betraying his own sister, now felt so cold and alien. He saw Lin Wei's younger sister, Lin Meng. The girl who once sweetly called him brother-in-law was now holding a bag of chips, munching away, while watching him with gleeful schadenfreude. The crumbs at the corner of her mouth were as glaring as the mockery in her eyes. He saw Zhao Xilian, the woman who once fussed over him, treating him like her own son. His future mother-in-law was now in a corner, laboriously counting the supplies they had hoarded. The mountains of food, water, and daily necessities were almost all obtained through his enlargement system. Her face showed undisguised greed and meanness. As she counted, she muttered that if they used these things sparingly, they could last until rescue arrived. That idiot. At least he was good for something. Finally, his gaze, his last shred of hope, fell upon Lin Wei, the girl he loved to the bone, for whom he was willing to give everything. She was now lounging leisurely on the sofa, focused on trimming her freshly done nails, as if the heated argument before her was just a boring play, having nothing to do with her. There wasn't a trace of reluctance or attachment on her face, only thick, impenetrable indifference and annoyance. Lin Wei. Su Chen's voice was terribly hoarse, as if scraped by sandpaper. Is it really over between us? Was there no sincerity in you at all? Were all the things you said before just lies? Lin Wei finally deigned to lift her noble head. She looked at Su Chen. Her gaze was like she was looking at the biggest joke. She slowly stood up. She paced over to Su Chen, looking down at him from above, from his soaked hair to his pale lips. Finally, a venomous, mocking smile curled at the corner of her mouth. Sincerity? Su Chen, why don't you take a piss and look at yourself, see what you really are? Are you worthy of me? She extended her freshly manicured, bright red fingernails, and jabbed them hard into Su Chen's chest. Each word was like a nail hammered into his heart. Let me tell you something, from the very beginning, the only thing I, Lin Wei, ever wanted was that crappy system of yours that enlarges things. If it wasn't for that being somewhat useful, the very sight of you would make me sick. What do you think you are? Just a tool to be summoned and dismissed at will. Now we've stockpiled enough food, more than enough to last us until the storm ends. So you, this tool, have outlived your usefulness. Got it, you waste. You eat more than a pig every day, and you actually thought you were part of this family? You actually thought you were part of this? My parents have been sick of you for a long time. Get out, right now, this instant. Don't dirty our floor. Her words were like a poisoned dagger, slowly carving up Su Chen's heart. All those once passionate vows, all those tender whispers, had now turned into the most vicious curses, and the loudest slaps to his face. He was utterly hopeless. He was utterly. The love he thought he had was nothing but an elaborate scam. The family he thought he had was just a bunch of leeches using him. For this scam, he had betrayed his only real family. And now, he'd ended up like this. Seeing this, Lin Zhengde and Lemon immediately stepped forward, like dragging a dead dog. They hoisted Su Chen up. They hoisted Su Chen up by his arms, hoisted Su Chen up, and roughly dragged him toward the door. Su Chen didn't resist. He was like a broken puppet, his limbs hanging limp. He let them drag him. His heels scraped against the doorframe, leaving long trails of blood. But he felt no pain at all. He was shoved outside, and fell heavily into the cold, stagnant water. The icy rain instantly soaked through his clothes, and extinguished the last flicker of hope in his heart. With a loud bang, the heavy security door was shut decisively, locking away all his hopes and dreams. Outside, completely cut off. Immediately, a wave of relieved laughter erupted inside. Finally got rid of that freeloader. Lin Zhengde wiped the sweat from his brow, and let out a long sigh of relief. Well done, yeah, that's exactly how you treat a brainless idiot like him. Zhao Xilian walked over too, nodding in agreement. Yeah, eating so much every day. It made my heart race. Now it's better. The remaining food is all ours. Lin Wei snorted contemptuously, and went back to admiring her nails. A poor, pathetic guy. Actually thought he could marry into our family. If it weren't for getting more supplies out of him, I wouldn't have bothered putting on this act. Now the show's over, and it's time for him to exit the stage. Lemon ran to the window, watching Su Chen stumble in the rain. She clapped her hands and laughed. Look, he looks like an abandoned dog. So pathetic. The family was happy and harmonious, as if kicking Su Chen out was just a trivial matter, or even something worth celebrating. Outside, Su Chen listened to the laughter from within. That laughter was like red-hot needles, piercing his eardrums, piercing his heart. He collapsed in the rainwater, letting the cold raindrops pelt his face, mixing with his tears. He couldn't understand. Why? Just days ago, the one who held him, promising to spend her life with him, had in an instant become his most vicious enemy. He regretted it. He thought of his sister, Su Wan, all her past warnings, which he had ignored. Now each word felt like a stab of pain. Each prophecy had come true. He remembered everything his sister had done for him, and how he had pushed her away, for a woman with a heart of a viper. But now, it was all too late. Endless regret and despair washed over him like a tide, consuming him. He struggled to get up from the ground. Like a lost soul, he wandered through the flooded neighborhood. The rain blurred his vision. The whole world was nothing but gray. He didn't know where to go. He had nowhere to go. Instinctively, he knocked on the door of Uncle Wang on the 3rd floor. He remembered that he had once given Uncle Wang's family a whole case of jumbo-sized luncheon meat. The door opened a crack. Uncle Wang's wary face appeared. Seeing it was Su Chen, he was taken aback at first. Then his face twisted into a look of disgust. "Aren't you the neighbor's future son-in-law? What are you doing out here?" Uncle Wang's tone was dripping with sarcasm. "We wouldn't dare take you in. We don't want trouble. What you gave us isn't even worth the meals you ate. Get lost." The door slammed shut. Su Chen knocked on another neighbor's door. He had helped this family out before too. A woman opened the door. When she saw Su Chen, she acted like she'd seen a ghost. She grabbed a broom by the door and swung it at him. "Get out of here, you con artist. Your whole family is rotten. You swindled all our food, and now you're back for more. No way." Su Chen stumbled back from the blows, dodging clumsily. He finally understood. He was completely alone now. A rat that everyone wanted to chase away. The neighbors who once smiled at him, now showed their true colors. He dragged his soaked, leaden body, walking aimlessly. He went up to the rooftop. The howling wind and pouring rain nearly knocked him over. Standing at the edge, he looked down. The flooded city lay below like a silent beast. In the distance, faint lights flickered, but none of it was for him. He thought about death. Jumping from here, would it all be over then? But then his sister's face flashed in his mind. The one who always cleaned up his messes. The one whose heart he had broken. Would she be sad if he died? No. She'd probably feel relieved. He didn't even have the right to die. In a daze, he wandered into the underground garage. It was dark and damp, reeking of mildew. He found a corner and curled up, hungry and cold. His stomach was cramping. His body shook violently from the cold. In a half-dream state, he seemed to see Lin Wei's gentle smile again. He heard her sweet promises. But the next moment, that face turned ferocious and terrifying. Mocking his stupidity, he let out a pained whimper, curling up even tighter. I finished my last bowl of luocefen noodles, and let out a contented burp. Watching the monitor, I saw that fool shivering in the rain, abandoned by the whole world, finally hiding like trash in an underground parking garage. I felt not a shred of pity. This was the fate he deserved. I turned off the monitor, and got ready to take a bath in my mini hot spring, and put on a face mask, to properly relax. But just as I was about to get up, the image on another surveillance screen caught my attention. On the screen, the Lin family's security door groaned under the blows of a crude battering ram, each impact more muffled and desperate than the last. Lin Zhengde and Xiao Shilian desperately pushed their bodies against the door. Their faces were etched with fear and despair, a stark contrast to their usual arrogance. Lin Wei's screams were the most piercing, hiding behind her parents, her voice filled with a desperate, frantic rage. "Get away, you lunatics. The police will catch you. You'll all die." "The police?" The lead man outside scoffed. "By the time the cops get here, we'll have cleaned your place out. Damn it, I work my ass off every day, just for a few lousy crackers from you. Today, you'll learn what instant karma is." Boom! Another heavy blow, and the door frame began to warp. The lock groaned under the strain. With a loud crash, the lock gave way completely. The door was flung open by a tremendous force. Lin Zhengde and Xiao Shilian were thrown aside like rags. I saw Lin Zhengde try to grab a nearby mop to fight back, but he was immediately pinned down by 3 or 4 men. Blows rained down on him. Xiao Shilian's cries and pleas soon turned into pained grunts. Lin Wei's fate was the most wretched. A young man grabbed her by the hair, dragging her out from the corner. A vicious grin spread across his face. "Miss Haiyan Mighty, feeling so tough now? Weren't you calling us cockroaches? How about now?" Lin Wei's pleas and screams only invited more brutal treatment. I silently switched the camera angle, not wanting to see the bloody scene anymore. I only heard a few sharp cracks of breaking bones and one final, short cry. Then, silence. The whole thing was even quicker, and more brutal than I imagined. In less than 10 minutes, a deathly quiet returned to the house. The neighbors began frantically looting for food. They smashed open every cabinet, rifled through every corner. They even slashed open the mattresses to check inside. They hauled away boxes of instant noodles, sausages, self-heating rice meals, and those imported snacks Lin Wei used to show off. Finally, someone discovered the main unit of the amplification system, hidden under the bed in the Lin family's bedroom. They didn't understand what it was, but seeing its blinking indicator lights and intricate construction, they knew it had to be valuable. Several people worked together, roughly tearing it out and carrying it away. When it was all over, the crowd dispersed. The house was left in complete disarray, with 3 bodies growing cold. Dark red blood seeped out from under the door, mingling with the murky rainwater outside, winding its way into the distance. I calmly took a sip of hot tea from my cup. My heart was utterly calm. This was the ending they deserved. A tragedy directed by greed and stupidity, one that was bound to play out. And my brother, Su Chen, the lucky survivor of this tragedy, was hiding in the bushes 100 meters away, trembling uncontrollably. He witnessed the entire process, from the initial door bashing, to the final slaughter and looting. Sheer terror nearly made him pass out. His stomach churned violently, but all he threw up was bile. He wanted to run, but his legs felt like lead, refusing to obey. Only when the neighbors, carrying their loot, cursing as they walked away into the distance, did he dare scramble out of his hiding spot. He didn't run far. Instead, he stumbled toward the Lu house, where the human tragedy had just unfolded, not because he had any lingering attachment, but because of hunger. A hunger so fierce it felt like it was devouring his insides. It overpowered his fear of death. He knew that place was the only spot where he might find food now. He slipped into the Lu house like a ghost. The pungent smell of blood made him gag. He forced himself not to look at the 3 twisted corpses in the living room, and headed straight for the kitchen. The kitchen was also a mess, but luckily, in their haste, the neighbors had missed some food scattered in the corners. Like a beast starved for days, he grabbed a handful of crushed cookies, mixed with dirt and blood. He frantically shoved them into his mouth. He even found an open bottle of mineral water. Not caring about the lipstick stain on the rim, he gulped it down in huge mouthfuls, tears mixed with the food, chewing a bitter taste in his mouth. He wolfed it down, weeping silently. He cried for Lin Wei's death. He cried from the lingering fear of his own survival. But most of all, he grieved for the humiliation of eating like a dog. Just then, the protective pendant hanging around his neck slipped from his collar. Its cold touch sent a shiver down his spine. His sister had given this to him. Once upon a time, he'd seen it as a shackle, as nagging, but now, this small silver pendant was his only link to a stable world, and the greatest mockery of what he had become. After ransacking the Lu residence, and stuffing all the food he could find into a tattered plastic bag, Chen fled that scene of carnage. He didn't dare go home, afraid of being seen by neighbors whose eyes were still bloodshot with rage. He became a wandering ghost in the residential complex, hiding in abandoned storage rooms by day, and sneaking into the underground garage by night, surviving on stolen food. He lived in fear every single day. The slightest sound would send him into a panic. Time dragged on in agony. Finally, the 5-year-long rainstorm came to an end. The sky cleared. The floodwaters receded at a visible pace, revealing a city bleached white and rotten from the long soak. I stood on the villa's balcony, watching the distant plumes of cooking smoke, hearing the faint murmur of voices. I knew it was time to end all this. I activated the system's restoration function. After the familiar wave of dizziness, I was back in my own bedroom. Everything was as it had been, as if those 5 years in paradise were just a bizarre, fantastical dream. I pushed open the window. The fresh, post-catastrophe air rushed into my lungs. I breathed it in greedily. My phone had a signal again. Without a moment's hesitation, I dialed the rescue center. Hello. I'm at the XX residential complex. I've been trapped for a long time. I need rescue. Also, I have evidence regarding some vicious incidents that occurred in our complex during the disaster. My voice was calm, unlike someone who just escaped. A few days later, uniformed rescue workers and police arrived together. Calmly, I handed them the hard drive containing all the surveillance footage, including how the Lin family profited from the amplification system, how they used Chen as a pawn, how neighborly disputes escalated, and that final, bloody lynching. I also mentioned, in passing, that my brother Chen might still be alive, and I provided his last known location. Following my clues, the police soon found Chen in the underground garage, gaunt and disoriented. When questioned, he was incoherent. His mind was on the verge of collapse. He was taken in for investigation on suspicion of trafficking in disaster relief supplies, and inciting a mass violent incident. I believe that once law and order are restored, this evidence will bring a fair judgment to all who committed evil during this disaster. As for my own brother, he will pay the price for his foolishness and selfishness, and I, Su Wan, will begin my new life atop the ruins.